Happy Friday. Good morning. What's going on? Let me make sure we are all set here. We've got everything up. I'm putting you guys on the big board over here today. I'm not sure if this resolution is going to be good for you or not. You guys can let me know. No echo today. No echo, and screen looks good. And we can get this shit started. All right. So, opening up about 0.5% higher. I am going to go ahead and, I know I was memeing earlier. Let's just go ahead and mute McKeezus just in case he doesn't realize. And about 0.5% higher. We talked about yesterday a pretty good chance of getting some gap oversupply today. A lot of this due to where the trend lines are lined up, going into all-time highs across all indices. Today is certainly where we are. We're opening up towards all-time high. Russell, S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, all looking very good, right? Volatility continued to drop, spot VIX coming down. We're going to talk a little bit about some macros here. In terms of the dollar, some ideas that I think are going to be important because it's been a big part of our story of understanding of, okay, what exactly is coming through here? Coming from Friday, we put some bets on that the market's coming up this week. We got paid throughout, but we've only been doing short-term trades because of some risk ideas that's not being represented in the spot VIX. The dollar breaking out, we had questions about what exactly was the dollar breaking out for. We knew there was some money getting converted to go into U.S. equities, right? So from other international currencies, converting over, buying up the dip, U.S. equities, pushing into all-time highs. We're in all-time highs and we're putting serious points on it, so we've been putting new positions on every day. A lot of them being able to get pushed, right? Which is great because going into the week, we're not very sure if we're going to be able to push some of these or not, right? We sort of day trade into swing trade into possible a little bit longer of trades that, we've got some pretty short-term expirations on. We're all sitting on SPY 400s as a group. We put some mega caps on over the last 2 days. Those are getting paid now. We've continued to keep our value consensus. So we've kept things pretty, sort of nominal and, not doing anything too crazy. But with today's move, looks like we're going to be able to get a little bit more excited. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the dollar here before we get into anything individual. We talked about this dollar break, right? We've been trending down with an inverse correlation since last year, right? So, ever since COVID bottom, the liquidity crisis that happened, even before COVID happened, which led into a bit of a liquidity crunch, you've got inverse correlation, not completely towards one, but pretty damn close. What's happening over here? Looked at the numbers, pulled up the data. We're looking at basically the opposite now. So we went from, I think the number was about 0.75. The number now is about 0.44 in terms of that inverse correlation number. And so this over here is now turned on to, when we think about the idea of converting to buy U.S. equities, that's a risk-on idea. This looks risk-on. This looks like the equity market, right? And so when we first saw this, there was we talked about it. You could go both ways. Sometimes the dollar can be completely correlated towards the U.S. equity market. It's completely fine, right? And so we needed things to line up. Since volatility pulled back a significant amount, we realized that there's obviously no pricing in of some sort of volatility event happening from a breakout. We were very careful with it, right? We were very careful with it to make sure. But I think now we can actually safely assume, and not even assume, but just sort of conclude that the dollar is being bought because of a risk-on mentality. And so instead of going safe haven, people are actually converting to the dollar. I mean, it's at a pretty low point. It's likely to come down further in the long term. But in the short term and sort of intermediate area, with where volatility is here, likely to still come back up on some sort of event, it seems like we're sort of risk on in terms of a currency standpoint. Another thing to remember here as well of why that can be is over in the bond market, yields continuing to rise will cause the dollar to rise, right? And so we've seen significantly more over this week get put into treasuries, which is our value bet, right? So when we go into value, we watch for that 10-year, realizing that a lot of it is tied up with this like if you're building a portfolio of value, a lot of that's tied into the treasuries. I want you to think about something in terms of institutions that are going long with a value idea. Let's think of equity through a dividend standpoint. So this is going to be, C Trader's favorite part of the day, thinking about his AT&T dividend that he's been bag holding for a year now. Institutions use this idea of dividends in sort of a slower return from the equity market in terms of safety, but still getting that extra yield. Now you're actually almost getting a better yield from treasuries compared to some of the dividends, right, in the equity market. So now when you're putting those large positions on as an institution, treasuries are getting a little bit better and better, right? They're looking better and better. We talked about it once the 10-year, that went over 1, right? That 1% mark, as soon as it went over it, that's when this exploded, right? We knew what was coming and it exploded. And so in terms of the dollar, I think we can safely remove some of that risk idea that we've had, and you can clearly see it, right? We took the bet from 2 weeks ago that volatility was spiking. We got the spike. That was it, right? And what do we do when the spot VIX is high? We buy. We always buy on fear. You buy when the VIX is high and you sell when it's low. That's what you do. Now over here, we're not specifically selling here, right? So again, it depends. Sometimes you can't use catchy, little phrases and have that dictate all your strategy, that's for sure. So right now we're still buyers. Let's go over and take a look at some of the pre-market action. Ford is going to be a very important sort of day today, it seems, because again, we've been talking heavily on EVs for a very long time now, and we've sort of added GM and Ford into the EV discussion and further correlated to the sector of EVs. This is opening up above the supply that we've been looking at. This is at 1190. This is very close. I mean, it's above the body of candles. It's coming into the top wick here. If you take a look back, you're now entering it's sort of a new area of supply that we have not been in, that we've been testing, right? We've been testing it over here in the local. You're talking about some pretty big moves that can come forward, and we do expect this market to continue making moves. I mean, take a look at the trend, right? Not really any clear trend line yet, but I'm sure we could come up with some different ideas in here. And, again, you get this rally, and this should be a bit of a continuation from here. Again, a little bit too steep or anything like that for a flag or pennant, but you see it anyway, right? It's an uptrend, it's a rally into a consolidation and pivoting up towards the upside again and continuing that rally from before. We should be expecting continued upside, right? Whether it's this trend line or whatever it is, the points are coming. This is an important sort of start to the move that we're seeing today, because think about how you want to manage positions in the next week. This is an important part of what we're looking to build. Tesla here today, I know JJR mentioned you get a bit of a hammer here. Since it's not coming from a downtrend, it's not really the same idea, of having like a hanging man here or anything like that. There's not really any sort of short-term pattern. It's just been a little bit of a mess around the supply. This is opening at 850, which is still right between the supply. A lot of possibilities here today. If Ford is moving, GM starts to move, the others start to move as well. Again, NIO has been consolidating quite a bit. Let me show you the NIO chart. We entered NIO, right, 3 days ago. It's very close, right? So everything is very close. China's been looking very bullish. When we look at some of the other charts, we traded the Billy chart coming through, right? Billy, Bidu, these continue to look great. So that should help the NIO chart. So EV's really coming along, and again, we're very bullish in terms of a bias towards that clean energy side of things. And then, so I mentioned BABA yesterday, so we entered the BABA trade. This is, look where you are. We cleared the 266 here. We're opening right on the 266 supply right here. What do we get? 24 basis points down. We're opening right on there. That's like a surefire buy right there. I mean, it's very close, and you have too good of a probability over the weekend for China to look good come Monday. So maybe it's not from open. Some of these trades may not be from open. It may not be from open, but for going into next week, I don't think anyone is saying, oh no, these charts are not going to be up next week. Like Monday, there's no way. Or you go Wednesday, oh no, Wednesday it's going to be down. If you had to do, you had to make a decision. Are these charts going to be up on next Wednesday? I'm pretty sure 90% of people would say, yep, they're going to be up, right? And so using that sort of little bit of an ideology going into the weekend here, we've been bid the last few days. This week's been very bid. I don't see any reason why you shouldn't be going towards the weekend, pushing swing trades, keep it going. Our SPY 400s continue. I think there's only a few areas where you have to be careful. I think tech. We have the long tech positions, right? Tech had been doing well this week because of the heightened volatility and then it coming down. Now that it's at a low, how much, this is just kind of following the leader of value. How much does this continue and in what areas does this not continue, right? I think there's a few questions here of when you look at some of, Apple needs to continue to catch up, right? So our Apple position should do very well over the weekend, right? Microsoft should do well. Short Facebook, but this obviously has so much to catch up in terms of relation to the rest of the mega caps, the rest of tech. That okay, well this has plenty of room to keep going. There's no reason why this should not continue into next week, right? But you start to look around. Microsoft has been, I don't know what that is. Microsoft has been looking very good, and so the others should continue to follow this move. But let me just start to take you through some of the other ideas. Amazon has been consolidating nonstop. This move over here is not very. It's not a great move, right? It's not a great move over here. So charts like this, you have a lot of questions in terms of how well is this going to perform when there's not much risk. There's not really much reason to go buy the options over here, which the whole market again is dominated by options. The stock being the derivative of the options. Whatever has the most call volume is going to be getting the demand on the underlying. So we're going to need to see that. And so some of these charts that are not getting that, you're not going to put the points on. I think it's going to be interesting today from that gap yesterday, 2 days ago. Are we going to hold this value on Google? It's looking good, right? It's looking good. You've had tightening. You've almost consolidated. You've sort of consolidated in a local sense some of this move, and so as long as some of these things are holding, Nasdaq will continue because as we bring it over to some of these other ideas, semiconductors should continue to move. AMD has been trash, but you certainly have some ideas of getting some help from the rest of the market. I've obviously preferred some other tickers. NVIDIA is right here looking to make its break. Obviously, we tracked a breakout, but a continued consolidation. This would still be the same breakout, just a little bit less bullish. Looks very possible to make its move today. We're already in this position. The other semiconductors being that are favored, TSM, of course, looking very good. This tightening yesterday, I like that candle a lot. And then UMC as well, being the more sort of volatile but bullish trade that should really be putting some points on. I'd love to be able to push this position over the weekend. So, semiconductors should be able to push and further intermediary tech. We of course seen so many different software companies and everything else that have looked so good this week. I think there's a few other new chances coming. We talked about the net chart. I think you still have some things like Roku, right, that we've continued to see, and it's just going to continue to put points on. I talked about the CrowdStrike chart. Again, there's so many charts, guys. There's no reason you can't take some of these trades. So this would be the tech that I'd be looking for. If you didn't already get the mega caps, I don't see why you would choose the mega caps over some of these other charts, because your return's not going to be the same. If you're already in the position, then great, because you're going to be getting enough of a capture there, and you've got basically zero risk now because you're in a fully liquid position that you're always going to be able to get out of it. You've captured it. A big thing coming from this week has been banks. I talked about this, that this was you can't miss this kind of trade because, again, it's a little bit too straightforward and obvious. Of course, over here, the Georgia runoff, when we took it the first time, it was pretty clear. We got a gap that we were going to exit that position. Over here, it was pretty clear that we broke and that we needed to get into this position once again. This is looking great. This is looking great. It's going to be really interesting to see how this price movement's handled going towards next week because, again, value's been looking very good. And just to wrap up some of this discussion, in terms of energy, it should be interesting to see how energy as a whole continues. We've been very bullish, specifically on some of, again, I don't like to couple clean energy with the energy discussion itself. We kind of put solar with semiconductors, so I think we should continue to do that. So if I speak about energy, we're only talking about sort of the classical oil, utilities, that sort of side. And then a part of energy, the utilities side, has been very bullish for us. We've been liking a lot of those charts. But when we look at it as a whole, crude is, of course, I mean, it's at $60 now. We've been seeing a lot of bullishness there. That market's it's unpredictable. It's difficult. So we're going to sort of alleviate ourselves from some of those charts, right? And that's what we got. That's what we got. We're opening very bid today. It should be really exciting. And I think somebody asked about, are we going to be taking profit from open? We're not really in a situation here where it's like a 1% gap, right? Where it seems like you're most likely going to take profit. We're actually just sort of continuing the move through the upside and through all-time high. And especially when you look at some of these other charts, you're going to have new support underneath you, right? You have new support up here, and especially on the NASDAQ, this is the one place where you know that take profit could come from. You've got now a support underneath you. This is going to open up above here. Oops. You should be completely fine here. But again, all we're going to do is watch price. We're not going to tell ourselves a story. So there's not going to be any issue there. It should be a very good green Friday. That's what we like. We love a green Friday. So let me see what you guys are talking about in here while we get ready. Let's see. Cody, pre-market. What's happening with Cody? I don't know what this is. 708. That's a lot of supply. Veru position. I'm guessing because you see the pre-market being down. I'm still in this position. So, still in this position. This is opening at, what's it at, 1286? 1286. Is that what it says? 1286? Yeah, 1286. Let's see where is that. Let's over here. We got looks like we got a little ways to go. Now, of course, when you look at this chart, over here, we talked about transitioning. So, of course, the short terms had already got transitioned, and I actually got new contracts up over the trend line. So, we're a little gradiented in terms of positioning. I took the unrealized gains on the sort of the too deep in the money, right? Put the new out of the monies on over here. So I got fresh contracts. Those should be interesting to see what happens with them today. If they need to get taken profit, of course I will. But we made 45% on the underlying over here. These were significant gains yesterday, of course. So you're not too worried about, this is again where you push a position and you're not too worried about when it opens about 10% lower when you got 45% the day before. Certainly it still looks very good, and the bids could come in, and that should still be an interesting position, right? The relative moves, when you take a look at the way that price has reacted before, it's a pretty similar situation to over here. Maybe you get some more interaction with the trend line today on that chart. We can look specifically, what do we got? We got 9 minutes here. We can look at the charts from last night that I posted. Let me turn off these extended hours. Let's bring up FedEx. We went from shorting FedEx with the head and shoulders top over here, right, all the way down to now looking pretty damn bullish, right? Looking pretty damn bullish. I mean, this is quite the move that can come through, right? I talked about it yesterday. I put the position on those that you're, I I think we had a little bit of a private session yesterday at some point without everybody in here. But yeah, we obviously put on FedEx and UPS yesterday during this move here. It was a little too clear yesterday. Looking for the rest of this move here, you continue the velocity we're on, we're going to be putting some serious points on, right? We're going to be putting some serious points on. I really like the chart. I think when you think about how bullish this chart was previously and the sort of action that we got on it, this consolidation that's occurred from the head and shoulders top and really pulling back towards now this wedge that is looking pretty violent. I think you've got a level of volatility here on a very good trend chart that could really set us up for some points. And so that entry yesterday, I mean, those contracts, there's no reason why those shouldn't pay. So really nice chart there. The wrap chart, another volatile sort of chart that we look for the volatility, right? We want a move that's going to, it's not some normie trade that, you're just sort of, you're jumping through the field and you're feeling good and you and your mom are having a good time. I don't give a shit. We're moving with some volatility. It's a risky trade. It's difficult. You're probably gonna screw it up half the time, but this is a trade that you're going to be able to beat other traders in this sort of situation, and other people are not going to look at yesterday and say, "Oh, that's going to certainly continue here today." Maybe it doesn't, but we're prepared for it in case it does, right? SGMO. I'm going to quickly show. I think Ecto was like, "Hey man, how'd you get this trend line? You've got one wick touch over here, and you've got two wick touches over here. What's this channel? How'd you come up with this mess?" Right? And even over here, the trends are a little. It's not exact, but it doesn't necessarily need to be because it's a clear consolidation. I think the breakout's not clear, but it doesn't necessarily need to be either, right? In terms of when you think about a wedge. If you just go ahead and, again, as always, the trend lines, what I'm doing is I'm stopping it for the channel and the trend that coincides with the pattern that we're looking at. This consolidation is consolidating this move through here. But, of course, trend lines always continue. So if you extend the trend line that I have here, take a look, you've got a very clear trend, right? I mean, it's pretty damn clear, right? You could just, again, you've got a channel here that all that happened was supply transposed, right? So this was your trend before, right? This was your trend before over here, all of this in here, and then it transposed this way, right? That's all that happened, right? That's all that happened. So you can even see some clear things through here, right? So again, all it is a continued trend that what we look for is where exactly does this, what's the impact in terms of this pattern over here in this breakout? This does not really impact over here other than that it does set the trend in the stage for where we are currently, right? But I'm not going to make us look at this whole fucking chart for no reason, right? There's no point. So looking over here, it's a very good chart, very good chart. HMHC, I mean, look at this move. You're coming out of Pennyland. Kind of a new chart now, right? A new chart up here. I like the move. I think it's an aggressive target, but I guess that's kind of what we're looking for, right? Take a look. It's not like this hasn't traded sort of in a traditional sense before, right? Pennyland happens, it happens, right? GME vibes. VRT, very similar in terms of a flag pattern here. This is a pretty violent rally. You could certainly just get the same candles produced right over here over that level, right? Keep that in mind. And then the VER chart. I mean, you can see this almost exact same situation occur over here, right? You had a gap over into the supply. This is actually just it's going to be opening on the support. This should be a pretty straightforward trade. And take a look. I put the level up here. You can't see it on the picture I posted. This level up here, up into the 48 high. That's what you're looking for. And look at the velocity through these two. Obviously, this is during the COVID breakdown, but that's why there's no supply in here, right? There's no supply in here. You just had a trend from earlier, from prior. You're going to have a very quick move through these levels. This is exactly where we like to find charts. We're just in time to capture it before the rest. This is just trading in between levels. So if it does move, we should be pretty clear to make a big break, right? And lastly, GPS, the gap. Those of you gappers, we had been talking about it we have been talking about it this week. And we've been talking about retail stores for months now, being very bullish, right? This move is very similar to all of the moves that we had been talking about. This is going in to the November election, right? This bid candle from here, big moves came through. Consolidation occurred here. I mean, you had a gap. You've consolidated the move pretty well. So you've now consolidated this upside move, the gap down. You're now ready to continue that, right? This pure continuation. I mean, look at the trend, right? There's almost no reason why price shouldn't continue here unless it's still consolidating, right? So should see some serious points there. And I mean, I put some pretty everyone's favorite silly word. If we get the target here, right? That's a silly trade. So you want to make some silly money? There you go. Good luck, traders. All right, let's see where we're opening. Futures. Everything's the same. About 0.5% across the board. Let's load up. Let's get ready. It should be a very good day here, guys. You should be a little bit more aggressive today. You've got support. Does the chart look good for everyone? I know. I mean, I got you guys on a bigger screen today, so I'm not sure if those of you that have a bit of a smaller screen, if you're on a phone, like you're just not seeing shit. That's for sure. So I don't think you're seeing anything. You can see decent. Okay. Yeah, this is. I've got you guys on a not the full 40, not the full 43, but pretty close. Of course, top of the list from yesterday, some very good trades from yesterday, right? If you look through here, those top trades that we made, Vero, AVXL, BCLI, Skills, Goose, Armit, Apps, FUV, Not EQ, XERS, WKHS, SeaWorld, Free Willy, right? Free Willy, Bison, Penn, right? Fiverr, PRTS, SGMS, PayPal, Piton, which is opening lower today, which should be a really interesting trade, right? And this is just a sketch. It's open at 149. I say continued upside. I say the dips being bought in that you break through this consolidation. Otherwise, you've got the trend anyway. You've got the fucking trend anyway. Who cares, right? So I'm going to continue that position. Don't even care. It's going to be fun. Let's get into it, boys. Good luck. I'm expecting the chat's probably going to be pretty heavy with alerts today. Seems like it's going to be one of those days. Seems like it's going to be one of those days. I've already called out a ton of positions, so I'm not going to be going, oh, here's what we're doing. I'm buying this. I'm buying this. You guys are ready. You know what you're doing. Let's see what we get. Let's look for that. Look for that opening action. Whether we're taking profit for the first few and then heading to the upside. What exactly are we doing? Are we coming back to close from yesterday? Our usual schedule. What are we looking for? What's that going to lead to towards 10 o'clock? Does 10 o'clock give us the understanding of the institutions, the big boys, which way they're pushing? We should be able to see it relatively quickly because, again, if we are continuing upside move, then they're not going to wait. No one's going to wait, right? There's no reason to wait. If everyone's seeing the same thing, we've all got the same information, then if we're going up, we're going up, guys. There's not going to be any fake outs today. That's for sure. No fake outs. As I say that, we get the classic New York fake out, but very doubtful. Doubtful. You just get a normal pullback, that's it. MGM, yep. So again, we're looking through travel. I didn't really mention it, but obviously airlines have been our biggest sort of gainer. We made significant gains. Again, yesterday, unrealized, but yesterday, big moves. And we've added on the win-win trade. The classic win. MGM being mentioned, of course, MGM as well. You guys have been liking that MGM chart a lot. I'm not a big fan of the LVS chart still, so sticking with MGM, win. And then airlines. Let's see, very good start here today. Let me just bring you around. Tech, of course, making a little bit of a wider spread because, again, tech with low volume is meh. Over here, value holding very well. Very well. We'll see how that interacts. If we likely come into the trend line, make its move. Top of the list, pretty similar to what we've seen before for pre-market. Not seeing anything really jump off the page. Looking for Ford's move, whether that's going to come back up. Z, of course, got mentioned earlier as well. We're continuing that move from Z. Again, we've just been sitting in this. This move is again it's pretty easy to see, right? We talked about from yesterday. The gap chance on this chart is much higher, right? Because of the trends, it wants to come back into that previous channel. That's a great chart right there. Let's see. Bill is now BILL in that channel, right? In that channel, new chart. Now, it hasn't held that channel very well before, but you should be able to put some significant points on there. I don't think you should doubt the channel just because it hasn't held before. Pen continues, right? We've been sitting in the pen trade. Got the 200 target for the middle of this year, right? Coming into the summer. We're very close to being on that track. SPSW taking profit from the start. I know we mentioned laser yesterday, coming off that trend, starting. Here's the MGM chart. Really continuing from that move that we picked up. Look at that price action, right? It's pretty clear. Let me just show you airlines real quick. Look at this move from here, right? That tightening from this move, you're really getting ready to make the move, an upside move. Save continues. That's our most bullish sort of airline. Looks great. Looks very good. So everything continuing and everything holding on the average, which is important, right? It's important to hold that average coming off of a bid yesterday, especially the way that we did it. This move of just melting and heading towards the upside with a bid close, important, very important to continue that. Let's see. Looks like we get some tech selling. Tech profit. Z continues. Let's see. GP with the 10.5 today. That TDC chart again yesterday. Remember what I said yesterday? And I think it's going to be a continued motto to hold on to. After those gap ups, you cannot be afraid to take those trades. You can't be afraid to take the trade just because it's gapped up a certain amount, right? And you go, well, 20% is too much. It's not going to go up more than that, right? No way. You got to remove that emotional stage, right? It's just all price watching. Technical, price is moving. Okay, I'm not going to doubt the price, right? Everyone's favorite Elon song, Don't Doubt Your Vibe, right? Stick with it. What time we got? We're 4 minutes in, about to hit the 5 minute. Should be seeing coming to that 15-minute candle. Once that 15-minute candle gets finished, we'll be able to consolidate this gap. It's usually where we see it. That 15-minute mark, you get your two. What do we always say? We get your 2 5-minute candle pullbacks, and then your third candle starts the move. Are we going to see it today? We're already getting tightening up here. Let me bring you to the value chart. Small caps, our favorites, coming into the trend line here, right? This tightening into the trend line, that should be where you're making the move. If we're going, we're going. We're ready for everything, though. Again, we're ready for everything. Volatility here, not really seeing much. The dollar pushing down a little bit from earlier in the morning. See what this makes for a move. This selling here, this could certainly just be equity buying pre-market, right? So, again, everything's already been converted. Everything's been converted. If you had plans to buy today, you've already got the cash. None of you here are going, man, I wish my broker would just deposit my funds already. Damn, I've been waiting on my funds all week. Still don't have any money to trade. Oh well. Like no one's doing that today. No one's going, well, shit. No one's calling their broker and, hey man, is my money here? Is it cleared yet? Can I trade? Unless you guys get margin called from GME because you're taking part with the retail boys, diamond hands, then, I mean, that's your own fault. Which today, how are they doing? I saw they were up pre-market. What happened? I don't see them anymore. Where'd they go? Where are the boys? What happened? Where are the boys? Who would have thought? Who would have thought that we should keep pushing the put position? Woo! Yikes. Yikes. It's going to be tough over there. It's going to be tough over there. All right. This is an interesting part. So we get the take profit. We need to see whether or not this is going to hold this level up here. Again, it should, even though tech is not, it should not be bullish with a low volatility. I would still imagine that this just trends up with the rest of the market, right? But this is an interesting spot to be in, where you got this sort of level here, you're trading around it. Let's see whether this is going to hold up here and continue the move with the rest of the market or not, right? Because you could see, the one thing that we are sort of being active and keeping our eyes on is you could get further rotation from tech back into value, right? That's just, it coincides with the treasury trades that we see, coincides with the dollar increasing. These things could certainly happen, but let me show you. You go over here to Apple, right? Pretty, it's a pretty normal move in terms of a start if value's coming in, but it's all about holding and continuing the move. It's not so much the value, it's the move. So we'll see how this develops here. Facebook did the opposite. Now short it, right? Short Facebook. Looks good. That looks good. Again, you get your 3 5-minute candles forming your 15, right? Pull back, and then your third candle heads towards the upside. Just sort of that move that you want to see if we are heading towards the upside. Looks very good. Bonds have slowed down. Not as much heading into treasuries anymore. Sort of removing some of that bid. You can see that on that chart there. Maybe not. But certainly some coming out of treasuries, and that could be just setting up for some equity buys, of course. Want to mention the win chart. We entered win yesterday. This is a very nice move so far. That's continued move from the gap. You're very close. We've talked about this level up here. That's your level that's breaking you past your retracement point, right? It's a whole new chart up there. That could certainly be a lot of fun. And again, this is important to see that we took this trade over some others, right? Death boat is a little slower, sitting in supply. It's pretty heavy supply up here. Ecto mentions that Ford, talking about a whipsaw. I mean, it's not really a whipsaw, but to see what you mean, it's going to probably consolidate this move here. You get this trend. I think you're looking very good for upside here. You're looking very good. You can call it a whipsaw, I guess, with 5-minute. You can call it a 5-minute whipsaw. Intraday whipsaws. Nothing wrong with that. But yeah, certainly should be good to the upside. Whipping towards the upside. I got no problem with that verbiage. Volatility still decreasing. Definitely looks good. Definitely looking for the upside. We should be sitting, so now coming in, right? We're 10 minutes in here, coming into 15. Now we should see the momentum come through, right? These charts over here, we've already got quite some points, but you should start to see everything get lifted up with more momentum, right? Let's see if we have anything catching up quicker. Anything jumping off. Getting close. Seeing a lot, see a lot of bid. It's going to be a fun day. Tiger Shark with anything running this morning. The market's running. Has been running this week. And there's a lot of runners in chat. They're jogging currently. Okay, let's see how this move is. I would like to see, if we are going, I would like to see some momentum. And then come 10 o'clock, I'd like to see more orders continue to be put on after that digestion from the big boys. Want to see a few things get lined up, right? Maybe, and so one thing also here, you do need to consolidate this opening, right? You do have to consolidate the opening a bit. So it's possible that until 10 o'clock that you consolidate the move and then put the move. I'm fine with that as well. But I do want to see confirmation that we're bid from the start here. Otherwise, we are going to change up the plan, right, in terms of the way that we approach things, right? If we're going to get some sort of opening that's turning into further consolidation towards lunch, then we're going to be changing up our mindset of when we're looking for new positions, because we're not going to just buy when it's at its high of the opening. If we're going to get a lunch pullback, we'll buy it close, right? So we're looking for just the timing in terms of new positions. That's what's important on the average, right? If individual positions are breaking out and continuing, of course we're trading those, right? But just in terms of an average. FLNT continuing its move. Take a look over here. Great candles. Again, it has been a very fun chart to be a part of. You're making a move from Pennyland, right? You're making a move from Pennyland. As it gets further and further towards the upside, it becomes a better chart, right? It becomes a better chart, and it's becoming a little bit more normalized, I should say. That bill move continues, right? This is really hunting for that top trend line that comes in at 181. Could definitely see you're most likely going to continue up to that, right? 181. That's your transition point. Again, you take everything off and put new contracts on as it passes through. That way, if it does get rejected, you got all the profit. And if it continues, then you have new positions to push, right? Get that new exponential. Okay, let's bring it over to value. Let me show you again. Right on that trend line. Right on that trend line. Look at that wick on that trend line. Unbelievable. He can't keep getting away with it. When was that line built? These are the newly improved trend lines, but this is the trend line from back in June. I had converted, if you guys, I posted the chart last night. I actually had it with just the S&P trend lines, but I converted it back to the Russell's own trend lines because, again, it has a little bit of a steeper trend. Looks good. Okay, hold on here. Brian mentioning TSM whip. Oops, just whacked the shit on my keyboard. Everything making the same move, right? TSM making it a little bit larger comparatively, but we have seen this most mornings, right? And this, again, always just look back. Take a look, right? It's the same thing. Same thing every morning. And this is what we're looking for, right? You want to make sure that you continue it, which is why I talk about the continuation. You don't want it to just come back down, right? You got to see if this move is happening or not. This move has happened a lot, right? It consolidates that whip. So remember, you got to be mindful of this doesn't necessarily mean further. You need to actually break this high here, or else it's not continuing, or else you're just consolidating, right? You just got some sort of wedge forming, triangle forming. Zoom, yep. We've been waiting for the move. We've actually consolidated this break, and it's turning into quite the move. It's a little too long for a flag or anything like that, but again, it's a consolidation you can see, and of course we're looking for quite a move here. So we're still on schedule. We're above this trend line. You're still looking for it. You're looking for that trend line. Trend line comes in at 414. Be mindful of that level, right? That's your confidence point. That's your, okay, well, we're going. We didn't close over it any of these days. We never got the full confidence, right? That would be the full confidence up there, 414 today. Be looking for this trade. This Again, this trade is tied into the COVID winners, into volatility and everything else. But just because of where it is technically, it sort of can remove all of those ideas and be good right now, anyways, right? Wiz mentioning Baba, you're waiting for these levels, right? You're close, right? It's interesting where we opened comparatively, right? It opened below the supply. It actually gapped into the supply down here. That's a great opportunity. Certainly a great opportunity. If not, if it does not break back through, then it's going to have some problems. It is going to have some problems. It's interesting. It's an interesting spot for it. I think that it actually sets up a very good trade. Even though it seems a little disingenuous for it to make a move like this, that again it opens based on where it was trading on the Hang Seng, right? This is a great chance right there. I think it's a great chance. The contracts haven't moved, by the way. Contracts have not moved. So again, this is purely based on the Hang Seng. We'll see what happens there. Okay, let's see. AON I put on yesterday. Those of you that were in the private call before everyone jumped in here, we put AON on yesterday. I think Brian, you were in here. Mobski, who else was in here? Ecto, you might have been in here. Put this on yesterday at close. Look at her go. That's a great trade there that we made on this inside day, preempting a break. I think a trade like that, maybe we can go over something like that. I was just jumped in the call early. You guys were the ones that didn't join. But that's a great trade right there. Been looking to preempt some more trades recently. Put some more risk on with the volatility so low. Okay, we're looking for, again, we need to see price movement. We need confirmations. We got 950 coming into 950. Not seeing any price movement here. Let's see. Makiza says GME gonna go. I see it's up 23%. Looks like it's getting some gamma interaction. Again, there's a lot of contracts expiring today, and it's the closer you get to expiration day, the more the market makers. I just said money makers. The more the market makers are buying that underlying and selling the underlying. So there's gonna be more volatility on Fridays, right? Brian mentions the STC, our favorite volatility chart. We go ahead, turn this bad boy green. These are trades that, these are just fun trades to make, right? Now, we came out of the channel, which is interesting from yesterday, right? Because we were looking for that opening buy. That would have been today if we closed there. We've been doing the same thing back and forth. Instead of the move, finishing here to make a move up to the trend line, it seems like we're starting down here. I'll start from down here and move it. We'll move all the way up to the trend line. We'll take that. We'll take that trade. Support bounce, yeah, that's a support bounce. That's a support bounce right there. Definitely take that trade. Again, we've done this. We've actually done this. We've made this trade so many times now. Here's the same wick over here. Same level, 1260. Here's the 1260 wick over here, 935. 1260, 935 SDC move here. See this move? Bring it back over here. Same move. Same move, different day. We've done it, at least 10 times now. At least 10 times. This is 935. Same candle. It's the same orders, right? Go look at the book. It's the same orders every time. The exact same orders. Net being mentioned. Net, obviously, we put the net position on. Looking good, right? And again, this is where I talk about take this trade over that mega trade if you're not already in it, right? You got to be able to capture these moves over those others, right? Play the margin. Again, we're getting good. Besides the market average, we have great setups that are getting confirmation of the moves, right? So that's what we want. We want charts that provide their own velocity. JDR mentioned Starbucks coming back into this this idea here. This was a sketch. This was a bit of a sketch that we had done intraday, and we got the move through. It looks like after we looked at it, that was it, right? Didn't hold that channel. Whole new supply over here. Very interesting what could come. I mean, it's hard to see. This trend line, it's not exact. That comes in about 108.5. Could certainly get some more. And even if you consolidate it over here, that'd be fine. You get a pretty good level there. Very interesting chart. I would definitely not something I was really taking a look at. I think got that rejection yesterday. Sort of, you get the gap, right? We talked about gaps everywhere happening. Those gaps are certainly important to see. And it's why we talk so much about when the gaps are more likely, because you want to be preempting trades like that. We preempted a lot of trades, but that's a good example of one that just wasn't looking at. Matt's mentioning SPE. Yep, no, nice buying, right? That's a confirmation buy of the support. And again, we're waiting on this chart. Even if it broke out here today, I would still say it's a breakout of some sort of idea over here. It's still tightening a lot, though. I think it's still tightening a lot. It needs to be. It has to be clear. The trend line comes in at 42.15 or so. It has to be clear, though. Otherwise, you can't take that trade. Let's see. Yep. Laser. Zoom looking good. So we are getting that consolidation sort of morning here. Value looking the best still. ZI continuing. This is an important chart still. This move here, right? You should not be taking profit. The only thing you should be looking to do is possibly transitioning over the weekend, right? So come close, you take profit on this move, and at the same time while you're taking profit, you're putting new contracts on, right, for that new exponential. That's the only thing that should be done here. Otherwise, you are making the exact move that you're looking for here. We're going to hit the lower bound of the target today. Really what you're looking for is this trend line here. That might be the transition point, is this trend line. That comes in at 57. 57 might be the transition point on that ZI chart. And again, a great setup, a great trade. And it's something that everyone's seeing as well. This is not like a secret, right? These are charts that, not just based on technicals, but on a lot of different areas. People are seeing these charts, bidding it up. We obviously had a great day over here, that candle. Yeah, I do want to mention the Chewy chart as well. We talked about it yesterday, right? This is something you can't miss. I told you yesterday, you can't miss this move where price is moving between a trend line and a horizontal. You have to take that trade. You cannot sleep on this because you know this is going to just make a violent move. It's just going to make a big move. It's at 1% right now, closes at probably 5% at me. Probably closes at 5. Laser, same trend line, right? Same trend line. A lot of these charts, and this has good support from down here. You should be able to trade up to the level at least, right? And then you get sort of the trend, the prior trend coming back. FedEx. So again, from the charts yesterday, FedEx, you're in the middle of nowhere, right? And like I said today, there's no reason why you can't cover this area, right? There's absolutely no reason why you can't cover that area. You're going to put a lot of points on, right? Again, these are trades, those of you watching price, you can't just sit there and watch price. You cannot just sit there and watch price. If I can show you guys a screen over here and trade at the same time, you can certainly take those greasy fingers and hit your mobile little device and hit the buy button, right? Put Siri on, and then put me on speaker. So when I say a ticker name, it loads up the ticker on the phone, and then just use that little, fingers you got. Little, whatever you guys are doing over there. Just kidding. None of you guys in here. They'll just be the people that aren't in here that I'm talking about. VRT, right? Again, I mean, there's really not much to these moves, guys, right? There's really not much. They're pretty clear. Roku, again, we preempted this trade, of course. I mean, we took it on the... I mean, it's the most obvious trend in the world. Should look good. Jamie Halt. Let's see what they managed to do over here. Break through the old all-time high. That should be fun. That should be fun. We'll see what the boys can do. We'll keep this in mind if this starts going. Again, I'm not going to take that trade. We shorted. We took profit on shorts. Quite the short. If there is something there, then of course, like before, let me go back because again, that's not a good way to talk about it. Actually, we took this trade over here. Right? Let me log it. We took the trade here, and got a part of this here, and we were done. We saw this candle, and that's sayonara. See ya. Right? And then the short opportunity was really over here, coming through this week. Right? There's a lot of different ways you could play this move, but you always want to play that first move. It's definitely over here when we first took that first trade. I mean, that was a great... I think that was it's best to take it as a technical trade over for the hype trade here, because we were not trading it because WSB was. And then over here, all we did was take advantage of what was going on, and then no, we were not going to... We were just making day trades. We were in and out that day. Buy it at open, sell it at close. That was it. Done. Right? If you do another trade over here, it's got to be the same mentality. Right? It has to be the same mentality. But the thing over here, you know what the problem is? You have an oversupply of calls that are all bag held. So you're not really getting any points over here. You're not getting any points, and that's just getting bought because the market makers, again, need to neutralize their position. Stay delta neutral. So I would not go screw around with that. Apps, we continue. So, you know, this chart definitely making the move that you want to see in terms of confirmation of further upside. I think yesterday you could you get the gap, and then maybe you get a little worried about taking profit. I did mention this yesterday that, you know, the price movement does shake a lot of people. You get the pullback, you get the push up, you got a lot of different things happening. This is a great move in terms of continuing that. Do you want to mention the win break here? That's the break you're looking for. That trade right there leads to all of us heading to the win this weekend. So if that continues, I mean, we got 6 hours left on the day. If that continues, those are gonna get interesting. Those calls. Sayonara. See you later. See ya. Let's see. Jimmy's at 54. I'm guessing I got halted again. We'll see how much we need to price in terms of retail not being elsewhere. And it could certainly lead to volatility if everyone goes in one spot again. So we're going to be mindful of it. Never doubt the boys. Oh, McKees is asking about the BABA level. The BABA level comes in at 264.5. That's the most immediate resistance above us, 264.5. And the next level is 266.5. You have the zone from 264 to 266.5. Once you get through that zone, that's when you're sort of in the area, and it certainly looks like you're getting there. So yeah, 264.5 is your first level. 266.5 is your second. Once you get through those, should be seeing it. Let's see here. Are we getting how much of tech is rotating? Let's see. So here's tech, right? So tech is sort of getting into that rotationary state. Here's value. It's going to be important to see that what this move leads into is 10 o'clock. So we should be seeing some of the institutions, some of the big boys make some decisions now. Let's see what we get for confirmation. And again, there's a lot of different things that can happen right now. So here's volatility. You got a volatility spike as GME started to go. Again, this all comes down to the gamma, and nothing to do with short squeezes or anything like that. Let's not kid ourselves. Win does continue. This, again, if you're missing this trade, I don't know where you've been. Where have you been? OSTK continues as well. This is going to be it's going to be a great trade because think about it. When you put a 300% target on a chart and everyone rolls their eyes, and then you actually get beat up for a little while, we've now made a 100% move from over here. It's almost 100% right there. We are already 100% up. No one's even paid attention, right? People are not really paying attention to this chart still. So, and everyone else is then, everyone is going to go chase the momentum here, which is going to cause us to really put points on, which it could do right now because look where we are now. Let me see what happens when you log this chart real quick. Here we are on the log weekly. Look at this move, right? All you have to do is that this continued the consolidation, and this is where it broke out, right? So see this line I have here? Bring this down over here, right? There's your break. There's your break. See these over here? Watch what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to go like this. There's your break. Good job. See the trend? See the trend line exact? That's all it is. So now our overall target on OSTK is 420%. I wouldn't have it any other way, baby. 420 on OSTK. That's the trend. That's it. See, this is the break here. That's it. See you later. See ya. The doubters, where's the, I'm guessing the Tiger Shark dude is still in here. So if you're listening to the recording, good job with your diamond hands. I think he entered over here right before Christmas, and then it came down to like 15%, but see ya. He's probably laughing. I think that guy's like up from, what do you say, 2K to now he's at 21? Some fucking serious percentages. Yeah, he might have sold, but I think he's back up. And again, you can always re-enter this trade. If you sold over here, you can always get back into the trade, so there's no excuses either. So I don't want to hear none of that. All right, Bill continues. We came up to the trend line, right? It's important to remember this 181 that I was talking about up here. That's, what is this? Came up to 180. LVS is following the others. Now, I said I didn't like LVS as much, but you can see how much further behind it is. This is the supply that we're looking at on WIN and MGM, for instance, right? This is where LVS is. So it does look like it's going to catch up. That there is a possibility there. I'm not sure how much you're getting paid on options over there, but that's certainly catching up. And again, we're really on top of this travel move. It's important to realize that preempting this move is very important. Capturing the move, the first capture over here, and then the second capture from here, understanding these things. SunPower. We're close, right? We're very close. This is a bullish candle for the day. If we ended right here, these are certainly trades to take over the weekend, right? This pullback is, there's no reason not to take this trade over the weekend. I would say, absolutely no reason. You're going to continue the trend, and if not, you've got support below you. Oh well, you lost some bones for the chance to make quite a few more. Let's see. Norwegian catching up. CCL is about to break that 21.75. Be ready for that. That's your next launch point. You're right there. Rejection to start. These charts will look, I mean, the move this week, it's certainly setting up a lot of ideas, right? Coming out of a risky state into where we are. Let me just get all of these set up. Looks good. Dow levels. We can take a look. I don't think I have the levels on this chart. Look at the trend line up there. What do you got? You've got, let's do this quick. It says you get like 41.05. Guess that was resistance coming into today. What do you get? True support. Okay, 40.05, something like that. Something like that. I don't know if you really have anything above you here. Just the retracement point, right? Whatever the retracement point would be. Which, you know, whatever this. There you go. Up here. Up here. But I mean, again, these are, you could just look at these charts, find the levels. Pen, we're at 128. How much do we get today? This trend line comes in 146 on the day. We're getting close. Looks like we are going to get up into that trend line. I think what we should do is, let me do this quickly here. Let's transpose the trend line. We did get a little bit of a rejection there. Let's just put like a dotted line there to remember that. And let's put the support in. Somewhere in here. Let's just keep these in mind of where we are. Again, we continued consolidating, so you transpose the trend line this way. That's where we are. Right? That's where we are. And we got the $200 target by the beginning of summer. What does this move mean? Let's see. What do we need to do here, boys? Let's see. This is the average. We're not seeing this on many of our positions, though. It's the thing. What do we got on the sell side? See, the sell side, we don't really have anything from value, from our positions. Not really sure what exactly some of this average is over here. This looks a little better. I think it looks like we just consolidated the move. That's all. Flagged the move a little bit. Doesn't look like anything else. We certainly did not get a bid start, so this is where you go, okay. Pull back lunch. I'll wait till close to put new positions on. Right? That's where we are. Don't see anything there. All the meme stocks getting some help. TCOM, we are above that level as well with the rest of the market. You also have this trend line. A lot of our charts actually look like this, where you get this trend line. Right? Something like this. just trading within this like channel, right? Just continue to trade through a channel, and again, you can always just pull it through and see the different levels where price is trading through. See what happens over there. All right, let's get some direction here. If we get a pullback down to the trend line, then that's certainly the buy point. We should be able to. We're going to get a very good understanding of timing as well, because you're likely going to see some tightening that should be very obvious for when you're turning, and if not, then you're just going to go towards your levels, right? Price is going to gravitate towards levels. So these should be very clear moves. Let's see. I see we have multiple Babas being typed. Good work, guys. Nothing dramatic. There you go. Certainly ready. Let's see. So we're going to need to see. We're probably coming into close over here from yesterday, which is usually if you're doing that, it happens from open, right? So you got this move. It's going to be a little bit slower, so you lose some time. So if it's coming back into close, which does happen half the time, it's either the other way or this way. But it usually happens a little earlier, so I'm not really understanding the move over here too much. I see you guys are talking about the Zoom trend line. I'm looking at the contracts. It's getting very interesting over there. It's going to get crowded, boys. It's going to get crowded up here. It's going to get crowded. There's a lot of people that were already in position, and now you're going to get a lot of new positions up here. Now, for these, we had the 420s from down here, right? You've got 420s. This move here is big, right? You're going to want to be going past that, right? You don't want to be picking up 420s up here. You can. That can be a part of your position for the meme as well. But you've got to be targeting a little bit further, right? I mean, 420s for February those are aggressive. Those are good. But, March, you got to be going a little bit further than that. You can't be buying just that. If you're adding more on. Okay, how fast are we getting down here? How fast? Let's see. Okay, just reading some stuff here. Okay. Let's see. What are we doing for lunch here today? How much is this going to sell? Could get the bigger whipsaw. Wonder if you get... Where's the rotation? Where would the rotation come in? That's the question. So if you get a whipsaw, To get the whipsaw, you would need selling that's leading to new rotation. Where's the rotation going? All value? Or we put some more on tech? What are we doing? Etsy as well, by the way. COVID winners are putting some points on. For having such low volatility, why are COVID winners putting so much on? Almost like that volatility metric isn't exactly where it says it is. This move here, right? Get the limits through the trend line here, right? What are these moves? If we have such low volatility, why is everyone going into such earnings winners in charts that do very well? What's going on with the stimulus bets? We had, the payroll numbers should confirm more stimulant for the stimulus today, right? This move in relation to Peloton, I mean, this is like the Twitter to Snap move, where Snap came down as Twitter broke out, right? We understand that this chart and Peloton are very similar. And in that, they make the move both ways. Inverse correlation and correlation at different times, but usually towards -1. Now, I talked about over here that this was getting a little bear flaggish, but then we broke out, so it looked good. This was going into earnings, and now we're here. Still feel like this comes to the upside. I don't feel like this is a bear. If this is a breakdown, then I mean that would be a pretty violent breakdown. So it's a little bit too much. Like sometimes it's a little bit too much. Like that would be this move here. I really doubt that you're going to get that level of selling over here, right? It's just not. It's not going to happen. If it does, we'll short it, of course. But it feels a little bit too much. Like it's not like a normal trend that you would see. Let's see. MGM does have a level where it is right now. Some serious tightening over here. FLGT, let's see what we got on the chain. They're possible. It's certainly possible. Maybe put that on. Get preemptive on that one. Because you're not going to be able to see it on the underlying. Let's see. Getting a similar move to over here, right? We actually are getting almost the same candle is over here when we get this gap to here, right? And I talked about this, that this is what we were worried about if we were going to get that unsuspected risk, that it would be like this hammer situation here, right? That hammer situation coming out of that buy week that led to this candle here. So, but we have we covered a little bit more ground, but the Russell chart is very similar. So if we pull back and do like some sort of hammer candle, we're gonna be very mindful of that move in the risk involved. Again, we're holding a risk position just because, again, it's so damn low. Let's see what other people are thinking. WKHS, let's take a look. I know it's down a little bit today. It just looks like the rest of the market. It's hard to tell exactly yet, right? We're still consolidating some of the move. we're doing some consolidation in the open here. I think, again, you're going to need to see a little bit more before we can start to make some decisions on timing of new entries. People are shorting X1. Well, I would have to imagine, because oil is freaking well above its actual demand level right now. So I mean, it looks very good. But yeah, the crude price is pretty crazy. It's at 56.56. Let's see. So if we look at it through like a daily perspective, besides everything else, we had a 1% day yesterday. You've just had some take profit from that day. If we look just day to day without thinking about everything else, it would still be in line with yesterday's move, right? So the bids should certainly still be there. It's very interesting looking, though. We don't have really. The only examples we have are those hanging mans. I mean, the trend is still the lows are getting higher. So solo bounce. Let's take a look. Not really sure what it's bouncing on, but it doesn't look like it's going down. It's got all these charts are so similar with that trend towards the upside. That trending, the moves between, it's these charts that are like this that are not, it's not horizontal support and resistance, it's the trend line, but it's the same idea, the way that it bounces on them, trades on them. And this one's a little bit more trendy, but I mean, that leads into some downturns. You gotta be careful on a chart like this. If you're not constantly putting see how it consolidates this up move? This is most likely just a continued consolidation like these other breaks that you see, right? These big breaks. Probably a consolidation there. VRM continues coming into this new high over here. You probably start to put more points on. I would say you get a little bit more velocity as you break this local high here. That comes in at 45. So you break 45 and you're going to be, I mean, I guess it would be more of, you don't need to consolidate that move. You could continue the rally and trend towards the upside. You wouldn't need to consolidate up here. It's probably going to contest with this level and try to reject. But if it does break, then it'll continue putting points on. So 4 back into the upside. We'll see. This also has that sort of that channel towards the upside dynamic. Let's see how many points. Guess what you're looking at for here today is something along these lines. Good start there. It's a good start there. All we're looking for is to get paid. Bob is still just trading underneath that supply. A lot of supply. We actually have not seen it trade like this besides back over here. You know what? Let me adjust this chart a little bit, actually. I wonder if... I'm not really sure. I'm going to have to think about it. think from yesterday, I'm not really sure. I think there's like another level in here I'm just not thinking about. Look through the chain. Show me the chain. That's probably likely, huh? Okay. Well, maybe it's more like this then, huh? Okay, let me do this quick because it's taking too much time. Oh, forgot a line. This is probably where we're at. So we had the flag, but it's more likely that this is the move here, right? Jesus Christ. This is more likely the move here. The pennant. Now it's harder to see with all the lines there. That makes a little bit more sense, right? You have this as your top trend line, and then it pulled into this down here. You're still above. Should be good for that move. The flag idea, the flag idea got a little bit of a rejection due to the nature of this candle that came thereafter, which does make this a bit more. So let's actually go ahead and call this a pennant instead. I'm going to keep the same target, but I'm going to remove the flag from here. I think that's the best way to look at it right there. So I'll repost the chart here. Have this be the move here, right? Save that. Let's see. F back above supply, they say. Yep, came down to that trend. Continues. This is what the market should be looking like. Consolidate the move and go back towards the bias. Now, we're still in the open. It's only about an hour, 10:30. This would lead towards a melt up lunge. What you see now you need the actual market to do this. It's not doing it. You would need this to break, and then it would be a melt. Brian mentioned snap. Same idea, right? That same idea. This is what I expect Peloton to look like as well. Where you get that move, but this move was bullish, and that's where, it doesn't really, I think I said it yesterday, like you get the technical break and it doesn't really make sense. No one really cares about the shit that's going on with earnings and everything else. See if this makes something similar. Now, see, this is like in the bear flag territory where you've got, let me remove this. This could be a diamond top as well, the way I just drew that, but I think that's a little bit much. This would be more of like a bear flag here, right? Or a bearish pennant, something like that. If it's going to make the move, I guess you would say you don't really have a horizontal here either. I mean, it's basically at its last sort of straw. So I guess you do have like a zone of supply in here still. You've got the trend line supply. A couple different ways to look at it. So you do have some help in here. We'll see what that looks like. But I would expect that to make some sort of similar move. There's the break here. Now, you want to see so here's where what you're really looking for, right? Out of these opens is the clearing of the high, right, which is usually coming from the open, right? Once you get the gap, you're looking for the clearing of the high here. Now, in terms of timing, this is what? It's going to be right before lunch. So you're going to need, it's sort of that similar discussion that we have, or you got to do it before lunch probably, or you're probably going to get rejected and just have us, you're just going to be swinging back and forth today, right? In terms of melt ups occurring, you got to clear the high first. Thoughts on LMT? Looks like the market moving there. It's coming into support. It's got a long way to go. This is a down. I mean, this is pretty bearish, right? This is pretty damn bearish. I think I even said it was gonna go lower. I can't remember how low I said, but I think I said pretty damn low down here. If anyone remembers, let me look. What did I say? I mean, it's been very bearish, but I mean, it does have support here, and if it breaks the trend line in here, it's possible. It's possible to get out of it. I would say the recent action has been pretty bullish, right? Yeah, I said something pretty low, but you know, in terms of this trend here, I mean, I wouldn't be picking this up though. Still, like, this is not something that I go, oh yeah, it's breaking out. Let me go take that trade. No, there's again, just in terms of my opinions of these charts, this is super bearish. Why take this trade on a break here when I can go take a chart that's been trending to the upside for months, right? And super bullish, and that everyone wants to be a part of. Down here, yeah, there might be a break, but coming, right? If it comes over here, but it's just this is bad news, bad news over here, bad news. So it doesn't look good. But those are the levels there, 338.5 support. But the dividends, exactly, guys. Those long-term bag holders. What does Kathy see in it? She sees that it's at such a low that she's going to get value out of it, which you can get value out of it, but I can make more money doing something else. Opportunity cost. Kathy Wood's got a few more billion than me, but she is a copier. They just see value in it. They're preempting a break. Which if it makes a break, maybe I'll look at. But it hasn't made a break yet, and I wouldn't preempt that trade. Green power looking very good. Does look very good. I don't know where our trend lines went on this chart. How are the boys doing? Let's see. I don't think they know either, so. Bought in at 300. Holding. It's at 73. That's the life of a memer. BGFE continues as well. Again, retail stores have been doing extremely well. That looks good. That does look good. That almost looks like a break today. This might be a... You know, this is actually a really interesting chart to look at. If you look over here, you've got this... You actually have a tightening here that happens to the upside, so you are actually consolidating. Take a look at this tightening that happens, right? And you just broke out. This is almost... You might be seeing a new chart come out here for this over the weekend. Could be a bit of a bottom wedge right? Not like a bottom wedge, but sort of a that form that leads to the upside. It's not really an ascending continuation triangle or anything like that, but this certainly, you get some tightening here that's leading to a breakout. Uh, this looks pretty damn good. You don't really see moves like this that often. You don't really see anything like that. Not really sure what we'd... Not really sure. Trend line comes in at 17 today. Probably, I mean, I know it's quite a ways away, but that actually probably happens. It might be more than 50% chance that that actually happens. Unless it runs into this trend line here, but it does not look like it, so looks good. Okay, bring it back. Bring it back. It's a great move here. This is a very good move here for the upside. We will see. What do we get? We get 10, it's almost 10:40. You know, we get almost another hour here before lunch. Not bad. Looking for some more demand to come in. Seems kind of slow. Doesn't seem like everyone's playing. Don't really feel... For the amount of cash that should be out there, based on what we see with the dollar and everything, doesn't really feel... Unless it's all... We just can't see it in the options. That FLGT chart. Yikes. I'm like, yeah, let's enter it. Let's enter it. It's a break even. We enter it. Now we're up 6.5%. This move could get violent over here. Because you capture this, if you recapture this move, that's quite a big one. Quite a big one. Fake pennant. A fake pennant. Let's see. Bonds are still going. Ford is up there. Ford is up there with the top volume on the day, so it certainly can make the move. Has enough attention. Let's see what this looks like in relation with some other, just to show you guys. Here's the Tesla chart. You're stuck underneath supply. Completely stuck underneath supply. We have a couple charts that look like this, but you do have a level of tightening in here. You do have a higher low still. Possible weekender again. Neo over here, same idea. Low did get posted down a little bit, but you do have this trend line down here, and it's just tightening again. You know we're in some sort of consolidation over here, and this is where when I preempt some of these moves, I'm only doing it on charts that I know are significantly bullish, right? Hard to say, maybe it's coming through here. You know, you get some sort of consolidation this way, right? What you're looking for is that move it has to come right through here now. It can't come this way or else it's going to be bearish for a while, right? And I mean, this chart has made significant moves, so It's not like it's not on pace, right? It's consolidating the move. I mean, in a pretty damn good way, and so it's getting tighter and tighter over here. This almost looks like as tight as it's going to get. I mean, it doesn't get much more than that. Volatility here coming into really the lowest point of where this COVID risk comes in. There's the dollar. I mean, it's almost, you just can't tell. You really can't tell. Wiz says we could consolidate until earnings. I don't think anyone cares. I think it's consolidated enough. That's why I preempted that trade. Levels on run. Obviously, I posted the shooting star from yesterday, shooting star pattern. In terms of levels, dun, dun, dun. I mean, maybe this is really the level to look at up here somewhere. What's this? 89.55. You get the 3 wicks in here. I wouldn't really call anything in there. And I mean, you're just I don't know, something down in here. Something like that. You know, you get some trend ideas, right? It's hard to like on charts like this, it's hard to, you don't have many points to work with, right? Not many points to work with. Maybe 69. Maybe 69 here, actually. Something like in here. Just to average it. That might be it. Because it kind of moved around there. That's what I would say. Something like that. Bum 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 ba bum ba-dum. Let's see. Doing some diving through chains as this comes up towards the high. Here's also what tech looks like. Show you. Tech is just still right at the supply level, right? A little bit slower, and then here's value. Value getting the brunt of all the buying, right? Which is what we expect, right? So here it is. But again, you need more to push past it. 1045. Okay, what are we looking to pop through here? What would lead as well? Gonna be watching travel as we come towards the highs up here. As we break through those highs on across all the indices, not just value or something. That X trade we took, you're close. You are certainly close. I mean, I put the inside bar on the list last night, right? For an excuse for why I bought it. I mean, it's a doji, it should reverse. And you get the trend line. I'm all about it. I think you even... I don't know, something like that. Something like that. I feel like X is going to... is probably going to make a significant move. It's probably going to make a significant move. This console, I mean, we've had so many charts make this move where we had a rally led, followed by the same amount of selling, the same players selling, and so that's where you ask yourselves, well, what was the point of buying up here if you were just going to sell it anyway? Some of this sort of long to short, very quick transitions. And then you start to consolidate it. I think this chart looks a little different because it has consolidated in just a completely different way. I mean, this does not look like any other chart over here. I mean, obviously coming out of the large breakout, but this over here just is a little. What is that? As soon as I saw that yesterday, I was like, okay, let's buy that. That looks good. Looks great. We getting the second legs here? Let's see. Bill could be coming. Again, that's not where the trend line is. It's up here. FLNT continues. $860 or so. Gotta remember that. Keep forgetting. Um, the high of the day is just the high. I'm not sure. You've got 4 points on a candle, right? 4 points on a candle. Top wick is the high. The top part of the body is the close. The bottom of the body, or I mean, in this candle here, is the open, low. The red candles, open, close, low, high. Yeah, if I say high, I mean the high wick. I'm just talking about the actual high. Good one. Good question. Can you explain what a candle is? And when you refer to them, do you mean it in like the actual sense of what a candle is, or do you have your own idea of what a candle is? I'm gonna start calling this the high. This, I don't know what I call the wick. I'll just call the wick the wick. Those are wicks, and these are candles. Are those candles? Why don't we just stick with bar charts? Let's stick with bar charts. I know it's easier for you guys to see the bar charts. All of you old school, you prefer your bar charts. Been looking at the terminal forever. You 90s traders. Only 90s traders would understand bar charts. Early 2000 traders. It's actually hard to see on TradingView. At least with my color scheme. You need the classic yellows. You need the classic yellows for the bar charts, or else you can't see shit. We have a chart hister over here. Good memes today. While we wait for some moves here. Boom, boom, boom. Looks like the market. I mean, this chart is such a mess over here. Super bearish. Very clear trend this way. You gotta see some interaction with the high here. Just really waiting for that, because otherwise you've got no sense of. I mean, you've got direction. You certainly have direction, but not in the sense of where you're going. Do you not? It's not that you're going to continue the trend or something like that. You need to. You break the high, then okay, let's go. Right. So do you have a trend through here we can use? Not really. Mess. Very messy. But, it's just trading to the upside. Oops. JJR says Zoom is trying again. Let's see. The options have been getting bought, so. Everyone wants our calls. Oh. Let's see. We about to get paid? We didn't get paid last week. Well, unfortunate. Well, actually, it wasn't, because I did not want this chart to break out, so I willed it to be. Now it's just been too clear over here, of course. No, you can't actually. Never mind. Thinking about a new trend line. It's very close. I mean, that's just a little too clear. It's a little too clear. In terms of today, it's up 6.25. In terms of how far it can go today, I think that 420 mark is what everyone's looking at. As funny as it is that it lines up with 420, that's just where it is. I mean, look at that chart. Look at that chart. Also, you had so many. I mean, look at these candle. We didn't. You guys saw it on the list that I obviously post the list. You've got inside bar, followed by this sort of tightening. That, I mean, it's on support. It's just a little too clear. It's just a little too clear. Higher lows. So this consolidation happened, and then, it's gonna put the points on, whether we like it or not. Whether we like it or not. Boom, 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 boom. Looks good. I like the chain. I like the option chain. Okay, we're waiting for just some decisions up here. Waiting for the decision to break through or round back over. Swinging back and forth. This is where somebody's making a decision. Somebody in some office somewhere or at their house, remotely, on Zoom. Or the 90% of all volume algos going doot, 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 doot. Making some decisions, calculating. This is, I, I've been thinking about some sort of analogy for the algos. You guys know how, remember how shit GPSs used to be? When GPSs were, we use them like, I don't know, like 10 years, maybe even now your GPS still sucks. I don't know. I haven't drove in a while. You know how GPS is always like rerouting, finding new path, and it just keeps fucking switching which way you're going? That's basically how algos are in the market. Recalculating, recalculating. Okay, oh, just kidding. Take the left path. When the market's selling, it's trying to tell you to go towards like the river. There's not even a fucking road there. You're like, okay. Recalculating. Ecto says, I thought it was someone on a Discord server making those decisions. No. The street is banned. No more Discord groups for the boys. If you're a trader. Not allowed to have it on your trading computer. Too many too much interaction. What's Wall Street? Is that like an IRL trading Discord? Exactly. It developed from a group of traders in a group, and then they decided to actually find a street and all buy buildings on that street and start a mega group, a conglomerate. Where is it? It's on Wall Street in New York. Good one, guys. You guys are fucking hilarious. It's actually in Midtown. I love how the best part about some of the stuff is like most people have not even ever gone. Like most people that work on what we call Wall Street have never even been down there. They just work in Midtown. Everyone works in Midtown. It's been like that for a while. No one fucking works down there. Besides Deutsche. I guess City too, but yeah, Deutsche is going Upper West. Deutsche is going to the boonies, taking over Time Warner. A bunch of my buddies live up there, so no, everyone loves Deutsche. You gotta love corruption. You gotta love the willingness of, oops. Not sure why we keep getting that. TradingView keeps doing that thing where the line gets expanded. You gotta love when a trader will literally sell you anything for like, they make real trades. They will trade you, like they'll trade you anything. If they need to get something off the books, they're willing to buy anything from you. You've got like an old TV that you're trying to sell. Call Fred. Fred, listen, I'll take those shit munis off you if you buy my TV. Okay. Or Fred might be calling you and goes, "Hey man, listen, I've got a problem. I'm a little low on cash. I spent it all last week at the win. I lost. Wasn't a win-win. Listen, man, I'm trying to sell my bed. I'm just gonna sleep on the floor. If you buy the bed, I'll buy those munis you're trying to get rid of." Okay, good deal. They don't care. Not my money. I'm not the bank. Snap earnings never happened. They did not happen, did they? It's basically why we say earnings don't matter. Let's see. McKee's mentioned TWC. I'm not sure. Is this actually what you mean? Is this what you mean over here? Looks good, McKee's. Good stuff. Really nice OTC chart or something over here. What's this? TSX. Looks good, Canada. Hey man, you're on the trading floor. If you're posting ticker names, then that's, yeah, you guys are memeing too much. See, some people are trying to use the trading floor to trade. Everyone else is bullshitting on the trading floor. Unbelievable. You'd think these people would take this a little bit more seriously when they're making silly gains, right? Like Wiz likes to say. He likes to make fun of people, call things silly. How are we doing on that trade, McKeezus? I mean, I feel like I could have put that $1,000 somewhere else, man. Right? Are we holding it? What am I doing over the weekend with that trade? I need some direction. Need some direction. You tell me what the plan is. I feel like you're just doing this on the fly, to be honest with you. You just kind of, you're going with it. Every time you see a new FDA trials, next news. Great. That's my kind of trading right there. Something may or may not listen, and I saw it in a headline that everyone else can also see, but I believe in this headline more than the other traders, so I'm going to buy. That's kind of what it looks like, but hey, okay. Okay. We'll see. But I can't wait. So I shouldn't wait until it happens. I should just sit in the position. I shouldn't wait for it. The gap chance is too high, you're saying, right? Gap chance is too high. Could happen pre-market, man. You got to be in there. All right. We'll sit in there. Save it for a rainy day. Dinner on me when it gaps to 10. Okay. What do we got? We got 11:04. Let's see. Everything else is mostly pushing. How the boys doing? They're consolidating. LVS, we're seeing waiting. A lot of positions are in the same, or a lot of charts are in the same position. I'm sort of waiting for that next direction. We've got all the move from the open. What are we doing on home builders? Just continuing. It's a little slower than the move before. Sort of get some like. Could have a few possibilities. Oops. I'm not even sure what that was, but yes, this chart looks interesting as well. Discovery's been an interesting chart. We fought tooth and nail over here for months. For months. Trying to figure out how to trade this damn chart, right? For months. And then we finally got it. Finally got it. Looks like a pretty nice break over here. Everything's pretty marginal over here now. These are pretty small. Very interesting. No good trend line. It's very interesting look. Very interesting. Swinging back and forth. Just gonna keep the same ideas. It's gonna be. It seems like a pretty sleepers day. Gonna be close. Close is where we get some action. The problem is that everyone's been doing the same thing all week. there has not been, besides this day over here, right? There has not been really any other direction. Most charts are doing the same. Most charts are breaking out, putting significant points on. That's like the real action. Catching velocity. All-time highs. Just keep it going. Push it towards the next all-time high. In terms of decisions, we're not going to be doing anything. If lunch pulls back, don't care. Need to wait for close. Need to wait for close to see if we need to take anything off. Otherwise, we keep everything, and then I'm looking to put the rest of the cash into long positions come close. But I want to see a little bit more direction to see what's the best way to sort of enter that. Whether, I mean, it's mostly going to be all value, but which areas are we putting it? Right? Should I put more on top of travel? Like the travel bets are doing very well. Do I want to put more on those? Those are a little bit more risk involved. Do I want to put something on a little bit more of a trend? There's a lot of charts that are trending well. I think there's some ideas still of putting more on China. These charts are getting offered a little bit of value. Something like that. Is Baba ready yet, or what? Through the boredom that these traders are having, apparently, it's melting through. And some small spreads over here, tight spreads. Let's see, is there anything interesting over here? Dumb penny stocks. Let's see, what is this? XCRS with the move continuing. How many points are we going to put on this today? We're finally at the lower bound of the target. This comes in at $10 today. That's a little extreme. But there's, oh, okay, we have a little bit of a level through here. This could put some serious points on. Yesterday was a 17% day. You could put another 20% on right here. I'd be watching that. We don't have any supply. We got this local high here at 716. If that breaks, then see ya. Because I mean, besides this, but this is more of a trend this way. You do have like a horizontal at 770, something like that. This chart should certainly put some more points on. Weird candles. I don't think you finish like this, right? I don't expect to finish here, just due to the nature of where the trend line is, that you should still be able to put a higher high. But the thing also is that's being recognized that if you put a higher high, then you're going to rally through there, which if you know that timing, then if that's going to happen, it would happen at close, right? So we're sort of getting a rules-based sort of timing approach here. That if you're going to put long position on, you're waiting for close. That's what it looks like. Or you're waiting for more dip, because if everyone's on the same schedule and understands, why do you want to buy up here if you can just wait for it to, with the way the timing is going to work, you can wait for some more value. Don't need to buy as high. Seems like that's what we're getting. I mean, that's just the market, right? If we didn't have schedule, it'd be a mess. That's why we take the opportunities when they come. Pull the trigger when it's there. Let's see. CLVS was mentioned earlier. Very nice move so far. Let's get a few other levels up here. I mean, what's this at? Oh, it's under $1 billion still. Yeah. I mean, bios have been the retail play, right? Bios have been the retail play. This is all we did last year. In the summer, in the spring and summer, we just played bios. That was retail's thing, and we would just go find them in the option chain and sell to them. That was it. Rock. Roku's making its move. Obviously, we preempted this move. There's multiple different ways to do it. Let's see. Let's do the 30 minutes. It looks like it's gone. It's already trading past it, so see ya. More all-time high on Roku. You're going to go up to the trend line, of course. That comes in at about 481, 482. Right. I mean, it's the usual move. Once you consolidate, back towards the upside. Again, it's important to be able to see these moves. And also, we've done it so many times now. So many times, and especially when you do it on the same chart. Breakouts are the same every time. Of course, you can get rejected at the all-time. But prevailing wisdom would say there that you're breaking. Also, dollar here looks like to be could be coming down further, breakdown. So sort of this might have been the short term burst that leads back into the downturn, which would make this a very interesting consolidation because it'd be a pretty long bear flag. It'd be about a weekly bear flag. If it broke down, which puts us into some. I don't know if this. I mean, I could break down and just start trading in here, but in terms of what we've seen, it seems like a lot of positions are being built on sort of a riskier dollar. So I don't know if the risk on dollar. I don't know if you could really break down too much. I guess if treasuries gets. It's kind of weird. It's a weird dynamic. I think you're going to have some tough decisions next week in terms of treasuries, what you want to do as an institution. So everything's just holding. Again, we're drawing down for lunch. A lot of this is coming from the amount of buying pressure we had yesterday come towards the high, right? And so we're now up here holding value at the all time, but waiting for volume, which is not going to come during lunch, right? I do not understand why TradingView keeps doing that thing with the line like this. I don't know if you guys can see it in the Discord why it does it, but I can certainly see it on my screen. Let's see. What about like Nike? Retail stores have been doing very well. How much higher do we go here? So we took this position, but this might be something that needs to get transitioned. I guess it's really this chart kind of depends on close. I'm not sure how I feel about pushing this one over the weekend. If you don't get above the level here, that 143. Sort of just trading on it. I mean, it looks like it's squeezing up above it, so it looks like it's good. Maybe you put more on, because it is a sort of a factor which side of the level you're on. Coming towards close. Maybe you can put some more on for the weekend. We'll see. Yep, Tesla's green. So again, this is the weekend trade we are looking for. Very nice move. I mean, that's quite the look right there. That is quite the look right there. Let's see what we can do here. Oh yeah, the options are it's the options, boys. Some 885 or something. Maybe 900s, yeah. Do it. Looks like it's pulling some demand from over here, but this is a good spot for Ford, sitting on that level. I mean, that's quite the convergence right there. It's going to put the points on, follow Tesla. Tesla's going to lead on that move, that's for sure. You should see Ford follow, right? Make sure we understand our flows. Tesla's certainly getting that first flow, but more liquid, of course. See what the lag is here. So 1154. Let me see what GM is doing too. See if GM also follows that. I think it's important to see if we get reactions. Interesting that that's stuck there. Which ones are you looking at, Brian? You talking about Tesla? Yeah. Yeah, they're insane. Always. I'm not sure what the lag is here on the Ford chart. I guess the volume is just that low right now. So can't really use that. It's actually funny how much... Let me see here. When you look at this chart, these actually lost quite a bit of value on the... in terms of percent-wise. I think the 900s are it's in the 12s. Twelve and a half or $900s. Let's go. $900s for Feb, and if you're going into March, then it doesn't really matter. Fucking March is ugh. Don't think those are very good prices. So, um, I'm just gonna explain a little bit of thought process here. I took the 900 Februaries. Those are about, if you look at sort of the averages for so far, around 12 and a half, right? 12 and a half for the February Marches, February 900s for Tesla. The March the March price points for the 900s are in the 40s. When you think about the dynamic between those two, you're adding a risk in terms of your cost, and so your basis there in terms of risk and reward, you're paying in the 40s for 900s on the Marches. You're paying in the 12s for the Februaries, but your reward is significantly higher on the Februaries if you get any sort of move right now. Well, you would only be buying it if it's going to make a move anyway. It's a little bit too much there. I'm not really sure what the dynamic between those two prices is. I mean, obviously the length of time that you have involved with it's going to give it a better chance, but I think you're going to see a lot of, when you look at an option chain like that, what Tesla looks like right now, you're going to see a lot of sort of demand go into these more obvious price pointed contracts that risk to reward, it makes more sense to go take that now. And everyone is on a short term risk sort of schedule right now still. And so it's not like before where everyone's putting a lot of long positions on and you're pushing your contract expirations out because you know you're going to be in it longer. No one's really doing that right now. So you're going to have situations where you go get this and like that, that volume on those 900s are going to finish at like 5,000 or something today, right? It's going to be like a significant amount. And so everyone's buying the same thing. I don't really like that too much, but yeah, you can take both, of course. No, of course. You take both. You should always spread over multiple contracts, but there's going to be some problems where everyone's buying the same thing again. Like this is going to be it's been an issue with these short-term trades, and that's why we're seeing such violent moves both ways, is that everyone is taking short-term calls, which no one really did before, like even traditionally. If you take a look at over time, how options have been traded on the market, first they were used as insurance with hedging, low volume, right? But you'd be buying your shares and then you'd go hedge the opposite way with calls or puts, right? And then through the years now, like over since 2008, it's gone into pure speculation. But now we've gone from long-term options into very short-term options, and those have become even better for risk reward because they're shorter. And what does that mean? Well, it causes the gamma phenomenon of gamma squeezes across the market, where the whole market now, right, the underlying stock market is the derivative of the options market because of this new pressure we have of just buying these short-term fucking positions. And you continue to see it more and more. Like it's not, this changeover is not stopping. It's getting even worse because everyone is, instead of going to buy something that's a few months out, fucking buy the monthly that's coming up. It's 2 weeks out. Who cares? That risk reward is better than having to wait for March or April. I'll take it now, please. So, and then of course the underlying has to get bid up because right now it's market makers that are buying the underlying because of the calls are being bought. That's it. Because it's short term. If they were pushed into further dated contracts, right? They don't have to buy the underlying. And so this is why we get the swings back and forth, because then now Friday's going to expire here. Now you can remove a certain amount of underlying against the calls. And so, again, I think we are going to see some sort of change because it's becoming a little bit, since 2008, it's just become, it's not that we can't handle that in terms of liquidity, but we're sort of losing sort of a sense of value in terms of of exactly what the market's supposed to be, right? Brian says, all right, I've been filled. Huh? You got filled at the top, buddy. Sorry. Got filled at the top. You should have bought down here somewhere. Should have bought down in here somewhere. I'm just kidding. It doesn't really. It is lunch. Probably pulls all the way back into here and we have to get out and then get back in. What was the lunch before? Where's the lunch? Oh yeah, over here. Wednesday we did this, right? Wednesday we broke through and then we pulled back and then. But we're in a different schedule right now. Obviously we're breaking through here. Yeah, something like that. You don't really have a good trend line over here. You do something like this. This is really what you're waiting for. This is terrible. You can't even get something like this. We'll see what happens. Makisa says Piper maintains pen overweight. Great. We're taking advice from Piper. Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. Awesome. EXPI just non-stop. In terms of getting out of this position, this is probably a good example of needing to transition before a weekend. This chart here, we're going to keep pushing the position, but you need to update your position, right? So those of you that are in this trade as well, yes, you can just keep pushing it over the long term, but you want to get as close to perfection as possible, then what are you doing here? Well, as close towards close as you can, or as close to what is seeming to be some sort of schedule on this chart of the momentum. You want to be transitioning by taking profit on the position you have and adding on new contracts, right? So going over the weekend, you don't want to be sitting on the same deep in the money contracts. Yes, you'll still make money, great, but take the profit, realize the gain, and at the same time buy the new contracts, right? Again, this transition idea is so important because this is where you can push a position and continue doing a trade while realizing your fucking gain and not being in a situation where you want to push a trade and then you lose all the money, even though you're doing the right thing. You're making the right decision by wanting to get more out of the position because it's not stopping. But you want fresh contracts, right? If you have a position from down in here, you entered over here, you're 60% in the money. Too much. Let's see. What do we got? It's 11:30. We should be full lunch mode right now, so low volume. We're tightening, completely tightening. Let's see if we get a break here. If we get a break here right as lunch starts, that would certainly be interesting. Something up here. Something up here. It's very doubtful. I feel like you're just going to tighten through lunch, and then close is when we make the decisions. Now, small caps and value has melted through. Broke through, and it's going to do a bit of a melt up lunch, right? So when we talk about value and the small caps here, this chart, when you break that high, right? So you gapped, you took profit, we whipped. This over here turns into that rolling over melt up lunch like here, right? This is what it should look like, which, understanding that this might be what it looks like, you need to make a decision now based on your value positions. if you're pushing those longer, because you're probably not going to be able to wait on some of your positions, just like you shouldn't be waiting past open anyway. But if you just woke up and you just turned you just opened your broker, then you need to make a decision based on if this is melting and going. You need to get in now if you didn't already get in, right? You should always be trading from open, but maybe you waited for the whip. If you didn't buy down here, then if you're not buying now, then you're going to miss it, because you may not get a pullback opportunity at close, and it may be too much risk to do so. So, again, this is where that timing factor comes in, of just expectations and understanding of what exactly is going to happen, right? And this is why we're in position and we get prepared for everything. But again, that's just the average. But what you should see, what we're going to look for, is as those goes, how much does travel continue to put on? Because we want to see how much some of these larger positions are tied into that value. Let me see. What else did I want to see? I want to see save. Oh, that was save. Want to see how much casinos here push. Everything's sort of going at the same time, right? We have EVs going. How much is something like this moving? It is going. What ICLN? ICLN's going. So you're getting the what we consider the tier 1 trades, right? Value, and then going from value into clean energy, EVs. Let's see what banks are doing right now. Banks, we want to see this break the high as well to see how connected this is. This has been doing very well, right? But this might be more connected to, for instance, the SPY, right? Maybe a tier below. In terms of REITs, let's see, something like SPG, right? REITs are going. VNO has been so back and forth. There's a lot of volatility over here. Something like this here, we want to see what this move looks like. Might take this for the weekend. It's been very bearish, but this move is bullish. That's a very good marginal trade. Let's see if some of these positions, here's Z. Let's see what happens up at this trend line as well. We're doing very well over here. See how well connected this is? Understanding that sort of these higher tiered trend charts are where the flows are going, right? What we just saw where everything is trading to the upside together, right, from this move. This is the money coming in. This is the flows that we see from the dollar over here, right? This is from the dollar moving, money coming out. Let's see how much does tech or anything get any of this? That's the question as well. Is everything together, or is it still some rotation from here? We want to know whether the flows are from cash or from tech into value, because we obviously see value going. The SunPower trade has now turned into a very good entry from over here for technically just to push it over the weekend, but this is now looking sort of midweek next week that you're going to be able to push some of these before you might need to make a decision. Penn, we're still waiting on this trend line up here. That one I threw in this morning. Let's see. Blink. What do we get for Blink? Nothing yet. ZI. Okay. We're certainly seeing it. It's a very interesting time to get it right before lunch as well. Again, I usually bring up this idea of you need to see it before lunch, or else you're not getting it, right? Lunch is not going to be anything unless you see it. As always, short Facebook. That looks bad. Probably is going, but CCL. Let's see. How much of a... This is a 30 basis point move over there. That's sell point from yesterday. I need a better indication. Maybe this here. We were pretty flat during lunch, but now we're above the supply. We're on all-time highs. We have no resistance. What we want to look for right now, and you would see it actually through sort of the mega caps and the higher liquidity tickers. If the market's going bid during this moment right now, during lunch, you're going to see the big boys, the institutions, come in earlier. Depending on their entry, it's going to dictate a lot of what happens at close, and so there might be some reasoning to transition during this time as the buying's coming in. So we want to be selling to the buyers, right? So some of those positions that we should be realizing gains on and buying new contracts on, right? What we can do is during lunch here, it's possible, I'm going to just use this chart as an example, not saying it, something like this where you're taking profit and then you're waiting to put your new position on. You're waiting. This sort of idea might be important because it might be happening now. So let's say we keep breaking out a little bit further, right? And then we start to tighten a little bit over, like, let's say 15 minutes of tightening. Maybe during that moment you start to take profit and then you're patiently waiting to buy the new contracts. Instead of buying them at the same time, you actually wait for it to pull back just a little bit going into close, and it might give a little bit better sense of directions because you don't want to be, guessing or anything. You want to keep the same idea with the position so that your mindset's the same. You're just trading the price, but there might be some. This generally doesn't happen where you get it where you want to do it during lunch. You usually want to wait for close, but in terms of transitioning, it might make sense in some of these charts that we're a little too high on, right? Let's see, what's our mid-range look like? Wonder if this starts to go. I do want to put, like the SGMO chart I posted last night, I do want to put some bios over the weekend. We're in, I think, about 5 or 6 of them right now. I do want to put some positions for next week. So this SGMO chart might be able to lever up some more on that. Let's see. There's so many good charts. I'm trying to think exactly. That Planet Fitness chart, value, right? Value. That looks like it can probably do quite a bit more as well. Already a good support buy today. Trendline break. It's the same consolidation. That's going to put more points on. That probably climbs into the trend line today. That comes in at 81 something, 81 and a quarter. That PLNT chart, probably 81 and a quarter today if it breaks through. Probably breaks these two levels here. It's already up 4%. That would be another 5.5%. Call it 10 on the day. That out move today as well. It's almost the same as here. Big move. Again, this terrible consolidation that happened down here on some of these charts led to that downturn. But these moves, if it breaks through, it breaks through. VKTX, we're testing that breakout again. Talked about it yesterday. That transitioning point on the trend line, right? New contracts we've got. We've got new contracts. So any move here is fresh exponential, right? That's why we instead of holding deep in the monies, buy new at the monies, right? Just get new at the monies or a little out of the monies, right? Get that exponential on. It's the difference between that chart's up 8%, so it's the difference between just putting another 8% on your contracts that are already up or putting another 50%, 60% for that move, right? Which one do you want? Do you want to make $100 or do you want to make $1,000 every 5 minutes, right? Something like that. All right, Penn. Are we confirming a break this time? It's very close. This situation here as well, if you were already in this position, that's, like I said earlier, this is your transition point. That's where you take the profit from this position and put the new contracts on, right? I'm not talking like contracts that were traded down here. I'm talking about contracts that were never touched until they become viable up here, right? So, because you don't want to be buying something that now your just average is higher. So the risk reward still needs to be there. So, of course, I'm not talking go buy the more expensive thing now. Let's see how much movement. Nova. Close. PRPL. Still waiting on this X move to happen. We're in position, but we're not seeing it with the rest. We're not seeing it with the rest of the move. Let's see. Volatility continuing to drop. We are clear skies, clear for takeoff. Yeah, Zoom tries again. Third time's the charm. I mean, if this is going, it's going to be a candle like this, right? I mean, it's not gonna squeak through. There's no such thing as squeaking through on a chart like this that has volatility when it moves, right? There's a minute left on that candle. It's not really updating it. I think that's the problem. Let's see. What's LX doing right now? Let's see. Possible move. Yeah, it's interesting. Really interesting stuff. That MWK chart continues. Our position keeps going. Right. This is a good example of being able to hold through some movement that is it's a little hard to look at on the intraday chart. If you look at this chart, let me put it like on a 30-minute or something. If you look at from where you would enter on this chart and then the different moves that happen, you get shaken out of these positions quite a bit probably. But this is one of those ones where you just got to trust in the actual chart itself, right? If you buy it somewhere in here, you got to be able to push that and trust in the trend that's happening. That's difficult though. Some of these charts are difficult. That's again where when you're thinking about what positions to get into, you got to base it off difficulty as well. That's definitely a part of risk reward, the difficulty. The Nike chart, right? I put more Nike on once it broke that 143. We had already entered over here. Put more on. I mean, we just did this like 30 minutes ago or something, but just mentioning again, I think you actually get quite a bit of a move here. This is tied into value quite a bit. Retail stores doing very well. I think you're going to get all of these sort of moves coming together, and of course GPS. We're waiting for this move. We are waiting. There's a lot of consolidating happening underneath this supply right now. This could certainly lead to a big move coming. Could certainly lead to a big move. We've already gotten back up to the level here this week. It's ready. Right? This is the kind of chart that come close, if it breaks through this level, it's going to, in a very short amount of time, put a lot of points on, right? You just got to be I'm not saying you should go enter this right now. I think you do wait for that. It should be clear, right? It should be clear because it may not be till Monday. But you know that this tightening here it's just a little bit too much. It's just taking profit from the move before. Not everyone is seeing the same thing that we're seeing here, right? So I've got the chart up. Not everyone looks at the chart the same way, right? If we take this off, you probably get different ideas of what's actually going on here, right? If I didn't draw the damn lines on the chart, none of you probably thought of this trend line up here, right? All you saw was this gap here, and then you're thinking of all this, and the name is gap. There is a gap. There's too many coincidences. You go, well, I don't know. But, as soon as you draw the chart, it's like, oh, yeah, that looks right. Duh. Of course I thought that. It's like, no, you didn't really think that. You were looking at like a 5-minute chart and thinking like, you get no idea. But again, this is sort of like a similar situation where you've got a lot of supply, so everyone's respecting a resistance, like everyone's trading in that sense, but they're not trading in the trend sense, and so it takes a minute, right? So you got to wait for some of that buying to come through to confirm that people are also waking up to the fact, right? Sometimes, right? Sometimes you got to get your kid up to go to school. You bring the hose out and just hose them with water, wake them up. Go to school, right? Damn lazy kids. You know what I mean? Got everything looking basically the same up here in terms of candles. Very good candle here. Let's see. Not seeing any more points get put on. So we are lunch. We are lunch mode. Didn't really see the move in travel that I was looking for, so we're going to be waiting for close for some, I guess direction's the word, waiting for some direction, because this is a lot of just sideways trading, and this is just holding long positions and waiting. The thing I'm like looking for on charts like this, maybe less that chart, but something like this here, what I'm looking for is everyone holding this position, and we continue trading to the upside, but is everyone in long positions sitting this and waiting for that take profit moment? When is that coming? Are they just sitting here and they're thinking that maybe it's coming, and maybe they're going to just do it at close, right? And there's like a few things that can happen here where everyone is very bullish on something, but everyone wants to sort of transition as well. Or maybe something else looks good, so maybe you take profit, realize your gain, and go somewhere else. So these sort of things, we're not seeing the full sort of continued bid that you want to for the full upside. In this sort of situation here, what you're seeing is a little bit of, yep, we're trending up, but you've got a little bit of feeling that people are going to look at this chart and say, okay, maybe before the weekend I'm going to take profit on this, right? And I mean, when I mean people, I mean computers. the algos. They're looking at these charts going, okay, hold on a second. JetBlue, we've made this move in 3 days, 2 days. You made all this in 2 days. I better take some profit up here because this is likely not going to hold on Monday, right? These type of things come in, and so realizing that some of these moves are possible, I think, should help us form an understanding for close, because right now at lunch, you're just trading flat. You're hanging out. That's just value holding, no one really trading. A lot of sitting and watching, right? Z, trend line time. Let's see what we get over here. This is the main channel, by the way. If you remember, this is our main channel. This right here. By the way, we're about to hit the target. Finally, good job. The 167 lower bound from July. We are almost there. We had a couple market consolidations that made us lose time, but if you actually do the timing, remove the market consolidations, it's actually on schedule. So the thing that didn't work is that over here, my longest position that we put on, that a lot of you put on, were the Januaries. We put Januaries on, the furthest out of the money contract, and now it's February. So that's because we lost a month from two months of consolidating, right? There was 2 months of consolidation in the market that we lost time on, September, October, and then November finally happened and we finally started going again. If you remove those 2 months, we would have been there, right? So this is a pretty good target. This is one of the best trending charts there is in terms of following trend lines. In terms of technicals and understanding of sort of how patterns work, you don't generally, this is about as far out as you're going to get. It's about as far as out as you're going to get in terms of timing, because you go a little bit further and too many things change. Just like this is a good example of too many things can happen during that many months, right? During that many months, you can get market consolidations, different risk events that really make you lose tempo. And so predicting something that far out is never going to be perfect, right? But I think, you guys get the idea. Look at the trend we barely transpose supply, right? The trend line. I mean, all you did was move it out a little bit over here, right? Just a little bit. You lost a month. That's what this is here. You lost a month. That's all. Let me put this back to the normal trend lines. There you go. So rejection, always respecting the level here. It could just trade through here, right? How far are we from 167? 6%. 6%. You finally guessed the target right. Exactly. I mean, eventually all things go up, right? So you could basically just guess any target on anything and you'll probably get there eventually. Like it's like the SPY targets I put. I mean, we'll eventually get to 400 on the SPY, right? I'm gonna be right at some point. But this is where, of course, it does matter in terms of your timing and everything else, right? Anyone can say anything. But this has been one thing we've got. We know what side of the trade to be on and when. You said when? I did. We're looking for that next leg, but it's lunch. Lunch is here. Let's see. What do we want to do for lunch today? I think I'm going to keep the hands off the steering wheel for lunch. ZI is heading up towards that 60. I think we let everything just go during lunch. If there's opportunities, I don't know if I'm going to take them. I think I'm going to hold cash. I don't want to be taking any trades from lunch unless there's something that's like so obvious. Hold this cash for close to buy some more at close. I think you'd likely get some sort of dips in some positions. Some dips in positions that we can utilize a little bit more cash for. I think I have, let's see. Got about 15% of cash left. That can all get put into close. It all can be put into close. Check on your GoPro, buddy, during lunch. I mean, we're doing good on GoPro. We're doing good on GoPro. It's always funny because it's like, or yeah, you guys have heard when I've talked about it. He buys up here, has to sell. He bought up here, has to sell. Instead of just trading it like we do, we're just trading the break, right? You just trade the break. This is a good time to buy now. I mean, you might as well buy now. It's actually really funny that the timing on some people. But it's because this understanding is that a lot of people are looking at the chart and trying to catch when the momentum's going. And this is, again, where momentum, you should not be momentum trading this. You got to be going through the options and finding out when the speculation that it's going to move causes the move to happen, right? Funny. FLGT alert was nice. Yeah, that was a very good trade. That tightening is it was a little too much not to take. A little bit too much not to take. Certainly putting some moves on. We're going to put a lot of points. We're going to put a lot of points on this chart, so let's just hang out for now, because you're going to be Probably breaking the high here pretty quickly. Marvel trend line. Are we on that trend line? Let's see. This one in here. Maybe more of a breakdown. Breakdown. Looks like it's wedging. Why did I turn that yellow? Oops. Hard to say what exactly, but yeah, it looks like it's going to be wedging down. There is this level down here. Obvious short opportunities. I don't really want to go short it though. It certainly looks like it's going to keep going, but I don't really want to spend the cash. Okay. Now you guys are just fucking calling out random shit, huh? Let's take a break for lunch. We'll reconvene for close. I'll probably jump on a little earlier again today. I think that was worthwhile yesterday when I jumped in like 5 minutes or 10 minutes before and called out like 5 trades that I took that are well up today. I usually, because it takes a little bit more busier at close, so usually we just wait till 4, but maybe I'll jump in a few minutes early. We'll give out some coveted alerts because this is now an alert Discord. So hopefully we get some discounts. You guys are calling out a lot of discounts. Everything that gets typed into chat, I'm going to take at face value and seriously. So you guys are calling shit out, and that's what retail's looking at. I'm going to go look to get a little hungry. Little bit of the boogeyman out there. So keep calling them out. I will see you guys at close. Until then, drink some water. Get out of your seat, fix your posture. You're leaning over, your back's bad. We're getting old. I'll see you at close. Enjoy, guys.